ہم دیکھیں گے، ہم دیکھیں گے، لازم ہے کہ ہم بھی دیکھیں گے، ہم دیکھیں گے وہ دن کے جس کا وعدہ ہے، ہم دیکھیں گے جو لوحے ازل پہ لکھا ہے، ہم دیکھیں گے جب ظلم و ستم کے کوہ گراں، جب ظلم و ستم کے کوہ گراں روئی کی طرح اڑ جائیں گے، ہم محکوموں کے پاؤں تلے، یہ دھرتی دھڑ دھڑ دھڑکے گی اور اہل حکم کے صحرا پر جب بجلی کڑکڑ کڑکے گی، ہم دیکھیں گے، ہم دیکھیں گے، لازم ہے کہ ہم بھی دیکھیں گے، ہم دیکھیں گے
وہ فسانہ ختم ہوا مل کے تم سے، وہ فسانہ ختم ہوا مل کے تم سے، راز سارے کہہ دیے دل کے تم سے، لبے فرات لشکر کا کیا حال سنو گے تم، پانی نہ پیا جائے ہے ہل کے تم سے، میری ردائے غم کا ہر تار کھل گیا، میری ردائے غم کا ہر تار کھل گیا، میرا زخم بے حجاب ہوا سل کے تم سے، کھیتی اگی تو کچرے کے ڈھیر بن گئے، کھیتی اگی تو کچرے کے ڈھیر بن گئے، سنبھالے نہ گئے یہ چھلکے تم سے، اپنی کوہتا کبھی پہ رونا آیا، اپنی کوہتا کبھی پہ رونا آیا، ہیں لوگ اب میرے مقابل کے تم سے، برباد ہوا دیس مگر پھر بھی مست ہیں، برباد ہوا دیس مگر پھر بھی ہیں مست، کیا حال کہوں کوچے جاہل کے تم سے، تم کے معیار حسن و خدارائی ہو، تم کے معیار حسن و خدارائی ہو، داد چاہیں پھول بھی کھل کے تم سے، تم بنتے ہو مسیحا مگر افسوس، تم بنتے ہو مسیحا مگر افسوس، سل نہ سکے زخم میرے دل کے تم سے، تم لاکھ میرے قتل کا الزام نہ لو، تم لاکھ میرے قتل کا الزام نہ لو، انداز سبھی ہیں قاتل کے تم سے۔
Compare. Thank you so much. So, Shaheryar, let's start asking you the questions now. Well, your meter is inspired by rap and hip hop, which I found always very amusing, and I really have enjoyed the musicality in it. But then you imagine Gil Scott-Heron, Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen singing the lines. You found it through British Council Library, and for music, there's a very specific internal ear. When did you realize that that's what your poems were reaching for, and what does that combination let you say beyond the scope of literary verse?
I think just the advantage of being a musician was very helpful to me because music, when you approach songwriting, lyrics actually, it's all about the meter. So for me, following the meter was very important. And obviously, I grew up listening to the Beatles and all the great poets and most of them, the bands were from England, but they had very, very nice songwriting skills, and I would understand why they were writing the lyrics that they were writing because it would fit into the song structure. And that's why sometimes some of the flowery, embellished words would not make it to inside a pop song, even a Simon and Garfunkel song or a Bob Dylan song. So I started approaching it in a slightly modern way, moving away from the Wordsworth and the slightly heavier, more flowery English. And so that makes it much more direct. It makes it much more rhythmic. And it should, for me, it should sound like words falling off, a page like some kind of gunfire almost, like you should feel like someone is just shooting you, like stiletto, some kind of gunfire. Yeah. So that's how I approach rhythm. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. I can feel that when you say that and I put your poems in my head, that is exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, you want to have a certainty of some kind, to just know that, this is who I am, this is where I belong, this is my story, this is my history. But when you, I think it's a very conflicted identity to be a part of the diaspora. And I think it's because, like you state, some things don't make it across the border. Some things do make it across the border, but then those things can become quite, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it can be quite suffocating sometimes as well, because you're trying to hold on to something that maybe doesn't make sense as well. So it's a puzzling experience to inherit a cultural tradition, history, identity across the border, because as I go on to read the poems later, you'll see that it stemmed from having, from knowing things but not being able to voice them. So incompleteness in itself then became kind of the natural setting in which I was kind of writing from. And as you can see in current affairs as well, it's a huge question, because you're constantly having to defend yourself or defend your place in the world. And I think I was doing that in my writing at first, and still now, I suppose. But yeah, you can't complete these narratives, you never can. But you can pull apart, reshape, define them, look at the experience from different perspectives. And that's something that I suppose is key to my writing. I've never wanted to cement or say, this is for sure, this is the answer of how to look at this experience, because I don't know the answers myself. But it's about building community, and hopefully other people can read it and just have a shared conversation. So I hope that answers the question.
So you arrived at Urdu ghazal through, I would say, Italian influences like Petrarch and Leopardi, two traditions that seem to have nothing in common until suddenly they do.
Okay, I think it's really important to state here that both art, visual art, and literature, which is a written word, are actually complementary to each other. They are friends. They are not on opposite ends of the spectrum. I think they're trying to do the same thing, but what I would do is I will explain what art has the ability to do based on where it stands in Pakistan, particularly in Pakistani society. Here too, but not so much. I think in Pakistan, because we're constantly surrounded by injustices, political, social, cultural, all sorts of injustices, our art doesn't have so much to do with art itself. It's not about the materiality of paint or how red alongside pink creates a certain passionate feeling within you. It's more about what we are experiencing and how we express those, because this is the only power a lot of people have. This is the only way to express themselves.
Because we talked about Eurocentrism before, they say that ghazals are like the Eastern sonnets. So if you want to invert the gaze, you could say the sonnets are like the Western ghazals, maybe. And so, yeah, in school, when we're quite young, we start with Petrarch. And I remember being in class, and you're a teenager, maybe you have your first crush and all, you're feeling a bit romantic, and then you stumble upon this poem, which has always been one of my favorite sonnets by Petrarch. And it's about how he's so in love with the girl that he feels ashamed that he cannot be around humans anymore. So he goes out of the town, he goes into the wilderness. And I always found it very dramatic, very tragic, and a bit relatable maybe because I've also been quite impulsive in my feelings and passions. And then, many, many years later, when I am reading and writing Urdu ghazal, I think back at that sonnet and I think, man who is in love, who cannot be around humans anymore, and who runs to the wilderness. What does it remind you of? What does it remind me of? It's the same trope as Majnun from Leila Majnun. And that moment when I realized this commonality between the two cultures and between the two literatures, it was like an enlightenment for me. It was like I found the ultimate bridge between Italian poetry and Urdu poetry, as well as obviously Persian poetry.
When I actually there was this one course about Islamic civilization and the civilization of the past. And in that, I read about different philosophies and different perspectives from my own understanding. And I realized that there's so many philosophies because when I was reading about these philosophies, Marxism and existentialism, I was wondering that why haven't I read any of these before? And why is it like always some white man making the colonized person your thinking is colonial? So we're never truly decolonized, and this has also been what I realized through the Voice of a People event that we had within Rawanee community. It hasn't posted on YouTube. You can go check out the videos. It is very informational. So we're never truly decolonized. So I realized that the things, the concepts that I'm reading about are inherently those that do not belong to me in my culture. So
later on, you kind of realize as the time passes by, your absence in your country grows, and your presence in the host country grows at the same time. So trying to find the place that you can call home is a traumatic experience, because one is like the home is for me is a language. You find your home in language, and the people speaking that language, it is the other person, your home, if you like. So by growing absence back home, you lose these nuances in the language, in Turkish. So
and I'll speak in terms of Pakistan alone. I'll speak about how art addresses cultural injustices, let's say. So some years back, as part of the Karachi Biennale, Adila Suleiman, an artist, put up some work in a public space in Fair Hall, which is accessible to everybody. Where art is limited in a gallery, it was not part of the Karachi Biennale, it was outside. She made an installation outdoors, and I think what she had done was she had made tombstones of sort, like oddly shaped, pointy tombstones, about 40 of them, if I'm not wrong, to represent the extrajudicial killings that were happening in the country by the police. And this is the power that art had, to speak about things that were happening, that everybody was feeling, but nobody had anywhere to go to address. She put that out there. It was a major injustice. And she specifically spoke about one person, a young 27-year-old man who had come into Karachi to make a better life for himself. And I think Rao, I can't remember his name, it was Rao something or the other, the police officer who was responsible for these killings. And it also had a video installation with it. She specifically spoke about this one police person. This was an open exhibition, part of the Karachi Biennale. And I think within 2 days of the show opening, I wouldn't say na malum afraad, but there were people who came in and sabotaged the entire thing. They broke all her installation, those little tombstones that she'd made out of concrete. They broke that, and they kind of closed and demarcated the video installation that was indoors in the fair hall, which was accessible to the public, basically. So I think this is art's power. A, the fact that she put it there. Secondly, that it was reacted to. So that she hit a nerve. She was able to take it forward. And she's not, I'm giving this one example, but she is not the only one. In a country like Pakistan, people are constantly making art about things that impact them on an everyday level.
It's called Legends of the Sun, a hybrid ghazal of migration. When I wrote this poem, it includes the inspiration for Dunya, it was done so based on the whole idea of seeing images of migrants all over the world on the news, and the struggles, not just their struggles, but the kind of dialogue that was appearing from it. And I felt that there was a process of dehumanization in much of the media, and I wanted to do the opposite. And I'm still looking for this poem. So I'm so sorry, just a moment. I'm sure it is in this book. Just bear with me a moment. While I look for it, here we are. So it's called Legends of the Sun, a hybrid ghazal of migration, and it's written to honor the bravery of all migrants. Drought, born to love and desire, born to a blazing sun, where thirst and hunger burned entire generations. A land on fire with starvation is a lethal gun. On a different horizon, a different sun. War shadows, unseen daggers, bombs and rifles bare their teeth for fun, to delight in pebbles thrown from just a younger one. Skimming shadows are legends with all their suns. A globe fleeing the darkness cries out for the sun. Brothers stretched their sights to shore, and both in hope they swam. Loss made dusk of every dream, and drowned a dawn at once. Please hold dear in every breath the heartbeat of the sun. Nur, I am not from out of space. I'm not an alien. I'm not the animal of a French jungle. I am a migrant. I am Nur, the light. I'm striving for my Zion. And I'm a human standing here to reach out for the sun. Crossings crossed and journeys made. Let's honor all in one. In our vessels must be love beyond material sum. For legends lost and for survivors, Omid has won. In this act of pure belief, don't we become the sun? I am Dunya, the world, daughter to all in one, made of earth, made of water, in communion. But my senses were bound by reins of destruction, so I broke free to soar in orbit right around the sun. Here are people who are moving to turn the earth and to live in the abundance of their right of birth. I heard from a great poet, this is freedom's song. He said no one and no one can stop the sun. Thank you.
पढ़ पढ़ आलम फाज़ल होया वो कदे अपने आप नू पढ़िया ही नहीं जा जा वड़दा मंदिर मसीतां वो कदे अपने अंदर वड़िया ही नहीं एवें ही रोज शैतान नाल लड़दा कदे नफ्स अपने नाल लड़िया ही नहीं बुले आसमानी उड़दी अपने दा वो जेड़ा कर बैठा उन्हों पढ़िया ही नहीं